Round 12 of the 2014 GP4 Offline Championship takes place here for the Belgian Grand Prix at the infamous Spa-Francorchamps circuit, the longest circuit on the F1 calendar. Force India taking their first win back in 2009. James Willows, the only driver to take more than one win at Spa in 2010-11, and only twice as a driver won from pole position, Sam Thompson and James Willows. And another interesting stat, with this being Florian Volker's 125th Grand Prix here at Spa. I am your host for today, George Rook, and welcome to round 12 of the season. Last round was held at the Hungaroring. Today we're at Spa, 44 laps, 7km circuit, 19 corners. The lap record set by Joseph Willows back in 2009, although let's not forget those cars in 2009 were insanely quick, I have to say. But regardless, that was what happened. That was the lap in 2009. The tyres we'll be using for this race will be the super soft tyres. The driver of the day was given to Franco Lopez, who got himself his first points finish of the season. So well done to him. But that was then, and this is now. And this is the starting grid for the Belgian Grand Prix, with Jay McKenzie once again taking pole position for Mercedes. Will Nella alongside him in second position. Third place, Waze Cooper in third. Fourth place, Nicolas Gal for Red Bull. Fifth place, Roman Quark. Sixth place, Ricky Harkzane for Force India. Seventh place, Roberto Gamba. What a qualifying from him in the Marussia in seventh place. Alex Southgate in eighth. Franco Gamba in ninth, good qualifying by him as well, with Veteran Vadrina in 10th place. It was a wet qualifying, which is the reason why it's so jumbled up. 11th place is Robert Hunter, with Robert Inescu being 12th. He had a 10-place grid penalty from the last race at the Hungaroring. 13th and 14th, the 7th row of the grid, is Joseph Willows and Florian Volker for Ferrari. 15th place, Franco Lopez for Marussia. 16th place, Cameron Anderson for Caterham. 17th place, Amar Khan for Force India. 18th place, David Greenwood for Lotus. 19th place, Julius Anderson with a slight name change in 19th. Oliver Glazer 20th. Kurosma de Ross 21st, and Rican 22nd. The reason why Anderson has his name slightly changed is to represent his more Swedish roots, let's say. But anyway, regardless, that is the grid. And here are the news for the 2015, with Robert Inescu and Nicolas Gal being confirmed at Red Bull. Roman Quark will remain at Williams. Etienne Jones will be the Caterham test driver for the rest of the season. The German Grand Prix will remain on the 2015-2016 calendar. And Ricky Harkzane is surprisingly going to retire after this race. Originally he said he would retire at the end of the season, but he has announced his immediate retirement from the series after the Belgian Grand Prix. And the Force India test driver, Michael Mocho, will be the driver to replace him for the rest of the season. He's currently racing in DTM at the moment. The track is dry. The sky will be a cloudy race. It's about like what it usually is at Spa, but there will be no chance of rain whatsoever. So now this is going to be very interesting indeed, as the 5 lights now come on. And we're underway for the Belgian Grand Prix. And who is going to get the best start as we head into the hairpin at La Source? And Cooper from second place, he made a great start, gets ahead of Will Nella heading into the first corner, and he makes the move past Nella and takes second place. But McKenzie keeps the lead. Cooper in second. He's now trying to attack his teammate as they head now down towards El Rouge, the most famous corner in Formula 1. As they come through, and it's nearly side by side between the two. As they come through, they're right behind each other. They've already got away from the Williams because they've got the slipstream coming down the Kemmel Straight, and it's side by side between the two Mercedes. Who is going to get the lead coming into Les Combes? Is it going to be Cooper or McKenzie? And McKenzie just about keeps it from Cooper, with Nella in third, Quagg in fourth, Gallo in fifth, Roberto Gamba up to sixth. What a start by him. Franco Gamba ninth. There's Willows, who's moved up 3 places, battling alongside side by side with Veteran Vadrina. Les Vadrina can keep it around the outside. He just about can. So Willows might have only moved up 2 places, as a matter of fact, and he can't quite make it through. As there's Robert Inescu trying to go around the outside of Franco Lopez in the Marussia. And has he made the move stick? And I believe he has. Great move there by the Romanian. There's Volker, who's not made a particularly great start. And so far, everyone has avoided any problems. The two Mercedes still going at it. Cooper trying to attack his teammate once again. Coming through the fast right, then left, then heading towards the last couple of corners, heading towards, or the 2 right-handers heading towards Blanchimont for the end of the first lap. And he's right behind Cooper. Nella could take advantage here if they're not careful enough. They're right behind each other. They're almost pushing each other through the corner. Now Cooper tries to make a move on the inside. He can't do it. McKenzie has him covered. It's very difficult to make a move. Nella just in the distance looking there as they continue battling, heading up towards the bus stop chicane for the first time. And McKenzie does hold the lead. He goes slightly wide, but he does hold the lead ahead of Cooper as they're coming towards the end of the first lap onto the front straight. And McKenzie still keeps the lead as they come across the line And Kuba sets the fastest lap of 1:49.6, but that is surely going to change coming later on, and depending on if he can get past at all. But we shall see. As Mackenzie, has he got enough of a run out the corner to stay ahead of Kuba? I don't know, but he could still easily get the slipstream coming through Eau Rouge, heading on towards the straight. And Nella can't quite make the mistake, and I think Mackenzie's done just about enough to stay out of his slipstream, as Rivki Parkrasane is right behind Roberto Gamba in the Marussia, who's made a great start. He's held his nerve so far, and this is obviously in Rivki's last race, and it's side by side between the two. And Rivki Parkrasane, is he going to take 6th place? And yes, he does. He takes 6th place off of Roberto Gamba, with Alex Southgate trying to make a move, as Robert Hunter moves past his teammate Franco Gamba into 9th position as they come through Lecon for the first time. And now Vedran Madrina's right behind the Toro Rosso of Franco Gamba, with the Ferrari of, I think that's Joseph Willers in the distance, as Amar Carr battling with Franco Lopez, the Argentine, in the Marussia. And Carr is going to make the move stick, is he? And the answer is he not? Franco Lopez battles back. Carr, has he got the run off the corner? He goes a little bit wide, and I don't think he has, because actually Julius Anderson is making a move on the inside, because he went on the curbs, and now Cameron Anderson is going to make the move on the inside. Obviously Cameron Anderson, who won't be racing in the series next season. As we're looking at the two Mercedes, once again they've caught up to each other again. Kuba right behind Nella, Kuba right behind Mackenzie, with Nella not too far away in the distance, as now Junior trying to make a move on the inside of Franco Gamba, who goes a little bit wide coming into the hairpin, and he makes it stick for P10 and gets the last points position on the board. As we're on the 3rd lap of this race, we've had a fair bit of action already. Who knows how the rest of the race is going to go? As now JB Kenty comes in, the leader comes in for his first pit stop of the Grand Prix. Comes into the pits, and let's see how quick the stop will be from the Mercedes crew. In he comes for his first pit stop of the race, and let's see where he comes out, or back out onto the track. So I mentioned pitting early. Obviously it's a shorter race because it's a longer, well, it's not as many laps because it's a long track. Finally get my words out then. But it'll be interesting to see, because he'll have to get through some traffic, I imagine, before he stops, because this is amongst the early stops this race. There's a couple of other drivers that are set to come in on the same lap as well, and we'll find out who. I imagine, I don't know who is actually coming to the pits. I think there's a Caterham one, maybe Toro Rosso, I think. But Mackenzie comes out in P7, so he does actually crucially come out in clear air, so that's worked out pretty well for him. Comes out ahead of Vedran Madrina in the... Oh, what's going on there? That was very close between Amar Carr and Robert Hunter there for Toro Rosso. So what happened here? So Hunter was... Carr's actually pitting this lap, and was there contact? And there was, I think, a slight bit of contact there, but fortunately they got away without any problems, as now Waze Kuba comes in for his stop. Amar Carr will be pitting, and actually Robert Hunter will be pitting this lap as well, as the other Robert Ionescu, has got past him on this lap as well, thanks to their scuffling. So Kuba comes in to the pits for his first stop of the race. I imagine Mackenzie will probably come out ahead of Kuba, unless Mackenzie's been held up in traffic, but he was in clear air when we saw, so who knows. As Kuba comes in to the pits, makes his stop, he's going to drop out the lead, drops down to P4 at the moment. There we go. And it's a 6.7 second stop, so Southgate is going to come out ahead. So where is Mackenzie? Is he not gone by yet? Where is he? So Kuba now comes out of the pits, and Kuba actually is going to come out in the lead, so he's actually going to come out ahead of his teammate Kuba. So he's done the overcuts, has Mackenzie, and the overcut has Kuba, and it has worked, as he's got past, as he's got to come out ahead of Mackenzie in the stops, because Mackenzie's been held up by the Force India Rivki Parkrasane in his last race in the series. So that's not worked out as well as it would have hoped for Mackenzie. He looked to be in clear air, but now he's actually already got past the Force India there. But now he has a chance to get past Kuba, but his tyres will probably just about be warmed up by now, so he has a chance, possibly, Kuba, to get away. So this could be an interesting battle going on for the rest of the race, as we look at Miklas Cow in P3, as Will Nella is currently the race leader for Williams, just ahead of his teammate Quag in second, with Miklas Cow, the Hungarian, in third position. As they come through, and Alex Southgate in fourth. He'll be pitting this lap for McLaren, as Alex Southgate, one of the drivers who announced he will retire at the end of the season as well. And well, unless we have a Rivki Parkrasane point 2. If he decides to retire, and actually Mackenzie's already caught up. I think Southgate must have made a mistake, because he went really slow coming through there, and so Kuba is actually already caught up to the back of Southgate, but he'll be pitting this lap, so Kuba really doesn't need to do anything stupid here, but he probably will want to get past Southgate quickly, because Mackenzie's going to be right on his tail if he's not careful as they're coming through the left-hander. And Mackenzie is just in the distance there as they come into the chicane, as we come through, and Cooper does make contact with the back of Southgate, and fortunately they get away without any damage. But unfortunately for him, Mackenzie is now right behind him. He didn't need to do that, Cooper. He should have just waited for him to go into the pits, and he's made an unnecessary error there, and that could cost him later on in the race. But Southgate does come in regardless from P4. He fortunately doesn't get any damage, so he won't be held up in the pits for too long. And Cooper has also managed to get away without any damage either, as they come into the pits. And let's see how quickly they will change the tyres on the car. And they change all 4 tyres, and there we go, 5.9 second stop. And let's see where he comes back out onto the track. Comes out, it looks like just inside the P10 behind Robert Ionescu, and looks like just ahead of Joseph Willows in the Ferrari, unless Willows can get past him before El Rouge, and the answer is no, he can't quite make it through there. So it's currently, he's just ahead in the points, Willows just outside of it, but Willows could make a move on Southgate coming onto the back straight, and he's getting alongside Southgate heading in towards Le Gomme. Is he going to make the move stick? And the answer is no, he doesn't. And he stays behind him, and there's Karen Anderson going wide, and that's Ricky Yan, who is spun around there coming into the first corner. And what's happened? So he must have made contact with Anderson, and the answer is yes, he does. Makes a slight contact with his rear wheel, and there we go. So wow, there we go. As now Will Nello is actually going to be pitting on the same lap as he comes through the left hand, is coming through Blanchimont, heading towards the bus stop chicane. As he comes through the right-hander, the first of the right-hander in the chicane, there's another yellow flag out somewhere, and what has happened? And it's Waze Cooper! And it's Waze Cooper, who was set to take the race lead after all the stops were complete, but Waze Cooper is out of the Belgian Grand Prix, and that is the same corner where he has crashed before. I know he crashed here a few years ago, and Waze Cooper, I think it was 2010 I believe, where he crashed here, and he's done exactly the same thing, and that was also from the lead as well. Well, this technically wasn't from the lead, but you know what I mean. But regardless, Waze Cooper has crashed at the same corner he crashed at a few years ago, back in 2010, just 4 years ago, or 4 seasons ago I should say. And oh dear me, he has thrown away a massive chance to gain back at Mackenzie in the championship, and that is great news for Mackenzie, but not so much great news for Waze Cooper. As you can see, look at that. So he's done it for 3 years. He did it in 2007 as well. And oh my word, deja vu is hit once again. As Will Nello is in the pits, and I believe his teammate Quag is in the pits as well. And oh no, that's a disaster for Williams. Well, it's good for Will Nello, but not for Quag. Oh dear me. And wow, Quag is now going to have to wait. And now Miklas Gau is going to jump him surely, as he's coming in the pits as well. And so is Rivki Hark saying he's coming to the pits as well. But oh dear me, that's not good for the Williams crew. Gal is surely going to come out. Yep, and they're only just coming out for him now. But Gal's had to wait for Rivki Hark saying to go by. So he's been held up a little bit there. So that could help Quag possibly. But they've only just now actually come out to him and are now changing his tyres. So will Rivki Harkazane get ahead of Quag as well, with a big question. So they finally changed his tyres, and he no, he has to wait for Harkazane to go by. Oh no, that's going to cost Quag dearly later on in the race. But he's got a heavy fuel at 24 laps, so he will be making one more stop, but he'll be pitting late on as Franco Lopez is coming through. Franco Gamba is actually going to be pitting this lap actually as well, as he's trying to get past Ricky Harkazane coming into El Rouge, and he can't quite do it there. And oh my word, that was incredibly close between Franco Lopez and Rowan Quag there. How they didn't make contact there, I don't know. That was unbelievably close between the two of them. But Quag just stays ahead there coming through El Rouge. We need to have a look at that again. Look at how close that was between the two. How they got away with that, I don't know. That could have been a major crash. There's been so many over the years. As we're looking at Robert Ionescu battling with Miklos Gal, and he gets ahead into P5 as he's now got the McLaren of Alex Southgate behind him, looking to make a move. But Gal is right behind Ionescu, and he's going to try and take him back, is he? I'm not sure. Excuse me. As Gal makes the move back on Ionescu, coming around the hairpin there, and he does make it back into P5. Good battle there between the Red Bulls. So now coming towards Pouon. As now Southgate's going to try to make a move on the inside, but he can't quite make the move there as they're coming through the long left-hander. There's Mackenzie currently in the lead. It looks like Nella is going to be in second place right now. As we're looking at the battle, and this actually is the battle for the lead. So Will Nella has got some incredible pace. He's actually caught up to the back of Mackenzie here. And this is a legitimate battle for the lead. And Nella is on the inside, coming into the hairpin. And is he going to take the lead of the race? And yes, Will Nella takes the lead of the Belgian Grand Prix, makes the move into La Source. And wow, so we could really have a battle for our hands. I thought this Mercedes were going to have this race in the bag, but wow, I guess not. So Nella was right behind Mackenzie there and just noticed the gap on the inside and absolutely went for it. And he takes the lead of the race. So could we have Will Nella, who is yet to win this season, and could he take another win for another team, which would be Williams, as now Rick Yan is battling with his teammate Oliver Glazebrook coming into Lecombe. They're coming through the two right-handers, coming to the chicane, I don't know what I'm saying. Oh, no, he's not. Well, he had made the move, and, well, he's gone wide now, and he's just completely messed that up. And he's dropped all the way down to 20th place, so he'd made the move, and then just went wide a corner later, coming out of the exit of Lecombe, heading towards Rivage. He had the move done there. He actually went a bit wide onto the curb there, and then just lost it from there. Just went wide onto the gravel. Fortunately, he managed to avoid the wall, but that is going to cost Rick Yan dearly. He already had that collision with Cameron Anderson earlier on in the race, and sadly, that means he is not going to do his race any well of good. He's not going to do his race any good at all. As he is a battle down the back of the field. This is De Rossa, who's struggled so far this race for Lotus. As the two Caterans are battling and they're going side by side, and wow, what a move that was by Julius Anderson, going around the outside of Cameron Anderson there, coming through El Rouge. That was some move, I have to say. And look at that, goes right around the outside. That is a very ballsy move there by Julius Anderson. And now Cameron Anderson's going to have loads of cars coming. Here's Franco Gamba battling De Rossa now, trying to get on the inside, heading into Lecombe. And is De Rossa going to make the move stick? And yes, he is. Will Franco Gamba make the move stick? The answer is no for now. As Will Nella, you can see showing his pace, setting the fastest lap of 146.8 so far this race. Is Franco Gamba now trying to make a move on the inside of Anderson, who goes a little bit wide, and that's Franco Gamba through on the inside, and he takes that position, takes P18 on lap 18, actually, funnily enough. As we look through the rest of the field, here is Roman Quagg trying to recover after that pit stop gaff with one there, and oh, there's contact, and Rick Yan's race goes from bad to worse, and Franco Lopez involved, unfortunately, in that. He went into the back of him, heading into La Source there, and oh dear me, and you can see he just brakes a little bit too late and then goes to the back of Rick Yan. So the incident between the two will be under investigation. You can see he just goes into the back, and there it is, and he's lucky he doesn't actually go into the back of the Caterham there of Cameron Anderson. As we look at Quagg trying to recover positions after the pit stop issue, let's say is now he's on the inside of Ricky Harkstein coming towards Lecombe. Is he going to make the move stick on the inside? And no, he doesn't. He can't quite make it stick there. But he has another chance into Rivage. And oh, Mackenzie's off. And Jamie Mackenzie from second place has spun. Oh my word. And he's throwing a chance of, well, certainly, I don't know about a race win, but he's certainly throwing that away, that's for sure. I mean, he's probably still got most likely a chance to get a podium, but he was 10.4 seconds off Nella. So, my word, Nella had some incredible pace, or the fact that Mackenzie's had no pace at all. But right now, everything is swinging in Nella's favour. He really is looking the favourite right now for that race victory. We've still got half the race to go, though. And wow, I mean, he's on his own right now, Mackenzie. Vadrina is 18, who's on the podium somehow. I don't know how he's managed to get to there, but regardless, he's on the podium right now. But he's 80 seconds behind, but it'll be certainly less after that spin. But wow, this race has been fascinating so far. As now we're looking at Roman Quagg going to try and make another move. Harkstein coming into Rivage. Will he try and make a move? Harkstein goes wide. Surely Quagg has got this move done. And yes, he does. He makes the move up into P9. As now Florian Volker comes in for a pit stop for Ferrari, having to recover after that bad qualifying that they suffered. And Franco Lopez has received a 15-second time penalty for that incident with Rick Yan. And let's see where he comes back out onto the track. He drops down to P5, now down to P6, now down to P7, P8, P9, 6.5 second stop down to P10. Will he come out ahead of his teammate Joseph Willows? Will be the interesting thing. He's just come across the line, so I think Willows will just come out ahead, will he? And the answer is no. Willows is just going to get ahead of him there. So Volker will now have to chase him down as Roberto Gamble will be pitting this lap. He's currently in 12th position right now. As Luke Wilnella, who actually is going to be pitting this lap. So that was actually a really short stint, because I'm pretty sure that he only pitted on lap, I think, was it 12? So that is a very, very short stint for Wilnella. But the question is, will he go to the end? I don't know, but that it'd be very unusual for people to do a 3-stop here, but who knows? We shall see, that's for sure. So he comes in, he's got a 29-second lead, so I think he'll probably just about come out ahead of McKenzie. Will actually make that 30 seconds he was ahead, so I think he'll probably still come out ahead of Jamie McKenzie out on track. If not, it'll be right behind him. So he comes in for his second stop. The question is, as we're now at the halfway point, will he go to the end? Let's take a look, shall we? And so he pits, and 16 laps, so 10, 16. No, actually no, he'll be making one more stop before the end quite late on. So interesting strategy here from Williams. So let's see if this does work out. But well, more importantly though, Vanilla, is he does come on ahead of McKenzie. So right now it is working in his favour for the 3-stop, as veteran Vedrina for McLaren comes in for another stop. And he comes, let's see where he comes on track. He's had a good race so far. He's kind of gone under the radar really with what's been going on up front, but he's just quietly gone about his business, let's say. And let's see how quick his stop will be. 6.2, quite quick. There's a Force India in for their driver, so 25. So he'll be going to the end of the race, as a matter of fact. So he will be going to the end. That is very interesting indeed. So he comes out ahead of Rifki Harkazane in the Force India, or does he? Harkazane is going to be right behind him. Is he going to make a move before El Rouge? And yes, he is. He's going to get past him. He's going to have enough power. So Virginia drops behind him, but he'll probably just get straight back past on the straight if he's can stay in his slipstream. But I don't think he was quite close enough there. Robert Ionescu coming in for a stop for Red Bull. And let's see where he comes out onto the track. Obviously, he had that 10-place grid penalty for the collision with Waze Cooper, it was, in Hungary, where he took himself and Cooper out of the race. And with Cooper crashing out the race himself, McKenzie's got the perfect opportunity to extend his championship lead. And let's see where he comes back out onto the track. And let's see, so Willows comes into the pits, Joseph Willows that is. And let's see how his stop goes. And he comes into the pits. It's not been a fantastically brilliant race for him, to be honest. And compared to his teammate Volker, he's had a bit of a better race, I have to say. But I suppose if he gets some points, he probably won't complain. But not been the greatest race for Ferrari. I mean, it's not been the greatest weekend, to be honest. So anyway, Willows comes out of the pits and comes out in P11, and here is his teammate Florian Volker, who's right behind Rifki Harkazane in the Force India. And Florian Volker will be going to the end of this race. That was very close there between the two. That could have been a collision, but they just about avoided it. They come onto the front straight heading towards La Source, past the halfway point of this race on lap 27 at the moment. And Owen Harkazane has gone wide. He's gone a bit wide into the source, and Volker has surely got the move done, has he? And yes, he has. So he makes the move up into P6. He went wide, Harkazane, as we were just going on board with him, into the La Source hairpin there. And now Ionescu is going to be right behind his teammate Armand Carr, heading towards El Rouge. Can't quite make the move stick there. So they're coming through the it's coming through El Rouge. They're coming on the straight. Carr is going to have slipstream from the car in front of him of I think that is Alex Southgate. I think it must be. Southgate really defending hard, and he's disrupted Carr's rhythm, and now Ionescu gets through into P9 there. That was some stern defending there from Alex Southgate, who really didn't want to let Carr through, but in the meantime let Ionescu through, and now Southgate defends from Ionescu coming into Rivage, but Southgate goes very, very wide indeed, and he loses a place, and now he could lose another place to Carr, but no cars to back off. And Ionescu, that worked very well for him indeed, as we're going to have a look at another replay of that. So car had a slipstream as well from Southgate, but Southgate really defended, went right over and stopped him going through, and then Ionescu just said thank you very much, slotted right behind Southgate, and then just a few corners later, coming into reverse, Southgate goes very wide. I imagine, because I think he's making another stop before the end, goes very wide. There he goes, and Ionescu says, "Wow, thanks for that," in the words of Nico Hulkenberg, and he comes through. Jamie McKenzie currently in the coming through some traffic at the moment, heading towards the Source hairpin as they're coming through, and there's contact between them, and oh no! Oh my goodness, what has just happened? And the two Selbers have collided with each other, and in turn they've gone into the back of Jay McKenzie, and that has just handed the win to Will Neller on a plate right there, and they've just been lapped. And then Glazebrook went into the back of Rick Yan, who then himself couldn't stop the car, and there was the contact right there. And unfortunately for him, he goes into the back of Jay McKenzie. I can't quite believe what I have just seen there. He's lucky he didn't damage all the car there, but crucially, that, as I said, has surely handed the win to Will Neller there. He's going to have an unassailable lead. He'll still have one more stop to go, and McKenzie will, I imagine, fuel to the end, because it was actually coming towards his stop anyway. But wow, that was it. There we go. And as we're coming through this, De Rossi in the pits on the back on the bottom of your screen there, and Cameron Anderson is out of the race. There's only been one retirement this race, surprisingly enough, but he is going to be the second one. And where is that? That's coming through Blanchimont, and I think he must have had a mechanical failure. You don't see many people crashing there. And let's have a look as he was coming through running 16. Oh, it was a loose wheel that has brought his retirement, and unfortunately had to pull off coming towards Blanchimont. He was running in 16th place, and there we go. And he pulls off eventually, I think, onto the grass, and yes, he does. That is his race done and dusted. So there we go, and that is his race over. And now Mackenzie's race is he comes into the pits, still on, so drops down into 4th place, made that 5th place, I should say. Behind Vidrina, behind Gal, I think, and I think actually Vidrina actually is going to the end, so Vidrina's gained himself another place here. So could actually he be in line for possibly a podium, as Oliver Glazebrook, you can see, not really surprised, has received a 15-second time penalty for that incident involving Jan and of course Mackenzie. So there we go. As Mackenzie has his rear wing changed. Of course, you could have that done in the game. Obviously, in real life, wouldn't quite be the same. As Mackenzie comes out of the pits, he's going to be dropping down all the way to almost outside the points. He'll just be in the points in P10, but I imagine a few cars will have to pit before the end. So there's a few of them that have gone late, including obviously the race leader Will Neller himself. He comes out just ahead of Rivki Farquharson in 11th position. But Mackenzie, of course, will be going to the end, and there's quite a few drivers in front that will be pitting, so including actually Roman Quag and Gal as well, who are getting a bit close to each other, so we could have a battle here for the last podium spot, possibly. Vidrina, but actually, crucially, I just realised, Vidrina actually is going to the end, so Vidrina actually is looking pretty good for a podium here, a 2nd place. And and the other Caterham of Julius Anderson has got a problem, and this time it is not the same problem as Cameron Anderson. It's a brake problem, but the question is, would he be able to get to the pits in time? He's just coming through Blanchimont, heading towards the bus stop chicane. Is he going to make it to the pits in time? Comes through the first right, and yes, he does. He crucially does make it into the pits, and there we are. So Anderson will be stone dead last. Well, at the moment he's 2nd last. He's still got Rick Yan, who unfortunately got pummeled by his teammate Glazebrook, and that won't be very good at all. So Anderson now drops behind, and now he will be last as Jan goes across the line. So he comes into his pit, he has to go all the way to the end. It must feel like an absolute eternity. And there we are, comes into the pits and changes his tyres. Imagine the fuel go to the end. I think he did actually have enough fuel to go to the end anyway, but has a tiny bit more added. Don't know why, but regardless. And oh no, and that's Franco Gamba. Oh my word, it has been a horrendous season for Franco Gamba. It just cannot get any better. He just can't catch a break. He can't. And he comes in, just went way too deep coming into Rivage. I haven't seen that many people actually go off there before, I don't believe, but unfortunately for Franco Gamba, he is one of them. And he goes off and goes into the wall, and there we are. that is his race done and dusted on lap 31 of the race. As we're looking now at a battle between P2. This is a battle for position between Miklos Gal and Robert Quag, and Quag is on the inside. Is he going to make the move stick? No, he's not, but they've crucially got Pedrina, who's close behind, who just needs to be careful with these two, because they have to pit anyway. As Pedrina comes through, he's just behind them, as there's Ionescu in the distance. He actually is going to the end as well, so maybe even Ionescu could get himself a podium, possibly, but it would have to depend on the pace, as now Quag has got past Gal, crucially, coming through Rivage, and there we go. And he comes through, and he takes P2 for now, but of course Pedrina is going to be right behind on fresher tyres here, so he just needs to keep his cool, because they both will be pitting before the end anyway, as Amar Khan comes into the pits for Force India. And let's see where he comes back out onto the track. So he'll be pitting for the last time. He's only pitted once before, I think, as well. I don't believe anyone has actually, surprisingly enough, actually, attempted the one stop this race. I think everyone has gone for a two. Nearly everyone, I should say, has gone for a two stop. So anyway, let's see as Amar Khan comes out the pits. I think it was just outside the points he came. As now Wilnella comes in for his final stop of the race for Williams, and he will be coming out, I imagine, he'll be coming out in a unbelievably easy lead. He probably can't believe his luck, really, that it's gone this well so far, but who knows? They've still got 9 laps to go, so who knows what could happen in the last bit of the race. And he comes into the pits for the final time, fuel to the end, quite comfortably, as you can see, comes through, and in he comes, out of the exit, I should say, and he comes out in the lead. I don't know where P2 is, and no Quaggy's on, and they're all pitting this lap, so the ridiculous lead they've got. Vidrina's obviously dropped a bit behind Gal and Quag there, but they're both going to come into the pits on the same lap, so I suppose that's lucky for Quag that he doesn't have to possibly overtake him on track again. But Quag is going to come out in P4, so he's actually recovered pretty well so far this race, but I'm going to be interested to see if he can catch Vidrina and Ionescu before the end of the race, because he and Gal are both going to be on much fresher tyres than the other two, so I'm going to be very interested to see how this goes at the end of the race. And as he comes into the pits, so he comes into his pit box, Gal will come into his pit box just a little bit behind, changes all 4 tyres, and Gal changes all 4 tyres as well, fuel to the end, and out they go. Quag, actually, I think there's a slightly better stop, I think, as McKenzie makes a move on the inside of the Ferrari of, I think that was Florian Volker, and makes his way up into P5, and is Quag going to come out ahead of him? And the answer is, I think he just about does, unless McKenzie can make a move coming through El Rouge, and McKenzie has made it past him, or no, he hasn't actually. He's actually backed off. He didn't decide not to follow through with the move, but he's going to have to slipstream, and surely he's going to make a move, but now Quag is going to be done possibly by 2 drivers if he's not careful. McKenzie on the inside, and he makes the move stick, and oh no, hang on, no he doesn't, goes wide, and Quag makes it through, and oh no, Rifki Farkazane, oh dear, that's not the ending that he would have wanted, and Rifki Farkazane is out in his last Grand Prix, and oh, that is in the worst possible way. No, oh, that's the worst possible way that you want to end it right there. And unfortunately a collision with his teammate Amar Khan, and oh no, that is just absolutely not the way that you would have wanted it to end. And unfortunately I have to say, Rifki Farkazane had a good career, dominated. GP2 was given the nickname hashtag excuse me, Rifki Domination, and wow, just that's a shame to end, but he's had a good career, and I wish him all the best in the future. But there we go, that is the end of his race. As we look at it, Wilnella sets the fastest lap of the race, just to show off, I really have to say. As we look at the battle for P6, as Volker goes wide, and Gal surely got the move done, and yes he does, he makes the move up, and here is the battle, and here is Quag, who's actually already, as you can see, called out. That took, I think, what, just 4 laps to get up to the back of Ionescu, and Quag is surely got the move done, and yes he is, he moves up into the podium, and actually Vidrina is not too far away So I think Quag could easily get himself P2 here. So it could actually be a Williams 1-2. Oh my word. And there we go, as we're looking actually at a battle. This is between Southgate and Willows, P9. So, oh my word, as we're looking, as now Southgate does make the move stick for Volker coming into Le Combes. Now here is Quag, he's already caught up to the back of the McLaren of veteran Vedrina, coming through on the front straight. And is he going to make a move on the inside? There was almost contact, and he's done it, yes, and he's made it. And Rowan Quag has unbelievably recovered it into P2, unless Vedrina can make a move back. He's trying to, coming through Eau Rouge, but he can't quite do it there. Quag has got the faster tyres, unless Vedrina tries to make a move back on the inside, heading towards Le Combes. My throat is struggling to do this right now. It's still side by side. Vedrina is trying to get him back, and he has got him back. He's battled. What a race by the Croatian driver, and he's amazingly managed to get back into second place, but surely he's not going to be able to hold it for long, because Quag has got so much fresher tyres than him. But fair play to Vedrina, he really is not going to give it up very easily, as you can see. So he tried to make a move, obviously Quag had made the move already coming into Source's car. As you can see, receives a 10-second time penalty for that incident with his teammate. And so as they were coming through Eau Rouge, Vedrina had the slipstream. He still kept the slipstream despite having to back off, and just got the inside and just took the place back off Quag coming into Le Combes. So wow, great battling here, but Quag is certainly not going to get up that easy. And is he going to try and make a move on the inside? And Vedrina goes wide. Quag is on the inside. Has he got it done? Yes, he has, and he does finally make a stick into P2. And surely he's got the move complete now, unless he makes another mistake. So incredibly, this race, it looks set to be a Williams 1-2. And we're now on the final lap of the race, as Will Neller is set to take his first race victory of the season for 2014, but also his first race victory for Williams. And he's won, and he's certainly, I suppose he's been, I wouldn't say comprehensively beaten by Quag, but Quag has certainly been the better driver this year, having taken 2 wins compared to his 0, but he's about to end that and take the victory here. But Quag himself has had a fantastic recovery after being held up behind Neller in his pit stop, and who knows if Quag had decided to pit a lap earlier or later, if he could have challenged Neller. I don't know, but I think probably Neller would have had this race still in the bag, maybe. I mean, I don't know. Quag, who knows? It could have been so much different had that pit stop not gone well. We could have had a nice Williams battle for the victory as well, and that would have been quite something between the two. As they're coming through, as Neller is behind the Sauber, trying to lap him as he goes around the outside of, I believe that is, I think it's Oliver Glazebrook, I believe. So coming through, heading towards the right-hander, heading toward, I think it's Stavolo, I think it is, heading towards Blanchimont, coming out of the second right-hander, and coming through, heading towards Blanchimont for the final time. It's been a great race from Will Neller. Took advantage of both Mercedes basically crumbling, it seemed, under pressure. So, but crucially for Mackenzie anyway, he's still in the lead. He's still in the race. I think he's in the top 5, so he'll extend his lead over Cooper. But it could have been a whole lot more had he not made those mistakes, or one mistake, and one obviously by the 2 Saubers. But regardless, that doesn't matter now, as Will Neller comes on the front straight and wins the Belgian Grand Prix and takes his first victory of the season, and for Williams. Congratulations to him. What a race it's been. As there was Rick Yan, in fact, not Oliver Glazebrook, who was being lapped by Will Neller at the end, as Armour Car does still take a point, and I believe he'll keep that point because Roberto Gamba, I don't think, is quite close enough. He's not within 15 seconds of him as they're coming through. It comes through the bus stop chicane for the final time, so I think Armour Car is going to stay in 10th place as we look at Roberto Gamba coming across the line, and we'll find out the gap, I think. And yep, 22.5, so that will be enough for Car to keep the final point. Kirosima de Rosa set to take 12th for Lotus. Been a bit of an underwhelming race for them, as there is his teammate David Greenwood, who I don't think we've seen at all this race. Comes across the line in P13, and there we go. As now we look at Robert Hunter. I don't know what happened to him. He was running in the points at the start of the race, but he just seemed to fade away. We just never saw anything of him after the first pit stop, so disappointing for him. But Roman Quag, what a recovery he's had, and he's going to take second place for Williams and make it a 1-2. What a race by them. But also, what a race by veteran Vidrida, who takes a podium for McLaren. Well done to him. With Robert Inesco, good recovery from him as well in P4. Oliver Glazebrook in P15. Jamie McKenzie will take P5 for Mercedes. So he extends his lead over Cooper in the championship, but it could have been a whole lot better. As Gal comes across the line in P6. Florian Volker comes across the line in P7. A pretty decent recovery, to be fair. As he comes now across the finish line with the Mauricio Franco Lopez coming across in P16. Julius Anderson coming across the line in P17 for Caterham. Alex Southgate P8 for McLaren. Joseph Willers, underwhelming race I think I'd have to say, coming across the line in P9. And there we go. That is the race over in 1 hour and 20 minutes. And wow, that was a pretty good race. I have to say, probably one of the best ones of the season. But anyway, here's the full race results. Woodnella winning from Roman Quagg in second, Veteran Junior in third, Robbie Inescu fourth, Jamie McKenzie fifth, Nicholas Gall sixth, Florian Volker seventh, Alex Southgate eighth, Joseph Willers ninth, and Armacard 10th, despite that 10-second penalty. I thought it was 15 seconds, but I could be wrong. Anyway, so Roberto Gamma in 11th, with Woodnella setting the fastest lap of the race at 1:46.6, I think that is, yep. And De Rossa and the rest of the order with De Rossa in 12th, David Green with 13th, Robert Hunter 14th, Robert Glazebrook staying in 15th despite that pen. Julius Anderson 16th, Franco Lopez 17th. I think, yeah, they've swapped because of Franco Lopez's penalty. Rick Can 18th, with Rifki Parker-Zane, Franco Gamba, Cameron Anderson, and Waze Kuba not finishing this race. So in these standings, McKenzie extends his lead in the Drivers' Championship ahead of Roman Quagg, who moves up to second place, with Robert Niska moving up to third after Waze Cooper's retirement, with Woolnella now on the same points as Cooper, so it's getting quite tight up there, with Florian Volker 6th, Nicholas Gall 7th, Willers 8th, Parker-Zane 9th, Virginia 10th, and Carr 11th, so Virginia moving up to 10th, just moving ahead of Carr there. That's kicked down to 12th, Rick Can 13th, Julius Anderson 14th, Roberto Gamba 15th, Robert Under 16th, De Rossa, Lopez, David Greenwood, Oliver Glazebrook, Cameron Anderson, and Franco Gamba in last, with all the drivers having scored a point this season. So there we go. That is the driver's standings. Now we're going to take a look at the constructors. So Mercedes have their lead cut by Williams in second place, but I don't see them getting knocked off the top. Red Bull in third, Ferrari in fourth, Force India in fifth, McLaren in sixth, so it's a good battle there. Sauber in seventh, Marussia 8th, Caterham 9th, Toro Rosso in 10th, with Lotus last in 11th place. So there's good battles all around there, to be fair. But anyway, that has been the Belgian Grand Prix. I hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to, as usual, vote for your driver of the day and give the race a rating out of 10. Thank you very much for watching, everyone, and we will see you for the next round, the Italian Grand Prix at Monza. So thanks for watching, everyone, and we'll see you then.